Everyone knows about the Grandview Chronicle. It's the news site you see every time you open your computer. But how do these stories in the Chronicle get made? That is what we're here to find out. By interviewing the heads of production, I was able to get a step-by-step guide on how a story gets made.
So the way that we always start out with all of our story ideas is we come together as a class every month, at the start of every single month, and we do a mass brainstorming session where we throw a spreadsheet up on the projector at the front of the classroom, which has a couple critical story topics that we know that we want to hit, but otherwise we kind of just let our writers choose what they want to cover.
After the stories are picked up, the interviews begin, where the writers will go out and get several interviews for their story.
Our writers then begin to also, at the same time, identify people that they want to reach out to and interview for whatever subject they're talking about, and they have to always make sure that they have some knowledge or relevancy to the subject that's being discussed, and they kind of have like an intimate understanding of what's going on. And then they also usually they start emailing people, reaching out to people, trying to get some interviews scheduled. And while they're also doing that, and everybody has to have 3 people, at least 3 sources for one story, just so we get a variety of perspectives that don't all mirror each other or kind of just tell the same narrative. It allows for some difference and some ingenuity and intricacy to the depth that the story covers.
With these interviews done, the writers will transcript them and pick out several quotes that fit their narrative. After all that's done, the real fun begins, the writing.
So the way that our stories are always formatted is it goes lead quote, transition quote, until you end on a quote. But the way that I always kind of tell them is, first, what you're going to do is before you even go into that structure, you're going to outline first, like you know that you have this point and then you want to move to here and here and here within the story. And I always have them outline that normally on a piece of paper or whatever they want to do to get that. So what I always do personally is I will identify, I know I need to hit these 3 major points. Then I'll find some quotes that align with all of those and load the quotes in first. Then I'll go back and implement transitions that fit for each of the quotes to bridge from like one quote to another without deriving from the detail that the quote gives. And then finally, I'll go back and get my lead.
Once the story is written, there is only one final step before its life cycle is complete.
And then after that, it gets sent to the editors where we do more extensive edits, and usually we'll leave a lot of comments on the Google Docs saying, hey, switch this around, do this, etc. And then after that, the editors will go back and will go to the student and say, hey, can you make these changes? They'll make it, and then the editors, we post it on the website and we grade it, and that is the complete process of a story.
You would never know how much work goes into a single story. It brings a new form of appreciation for all the different stories seen on the Chronicle. Hopefully this gives you a new perspective when checking out any new stories. This has been Grant and Eli reporting for GVTV.